We moved an entire home gym of high-end gym equipment, and then the complaints started. Let's get into it. So about a month ago, we quoted a job to do a gym move for someone who basically has a high-end home. They have high-end gym equipment. I want to say about $25,000 worth of stuff. And they were basically a referral. They came to us and said, look, can you move our stuff from our old house to our new house? So we sent out, obviously we sent out the guys. I don't usually do walkthroughs for things like this. And, my guys went there. We were prepared to do the move. We realized that the job was actually a lot larger than what we quoted. And after that, we basically weren't able to finish the first day, and we had to come back that following Friday to actually finish the job. Job was done. And then the customer started complaining about scratches and about damages to their product. Totally understandable. It's a high-end home. And, they just want to make sure that you could tell the customer was peculiar, and that's totally fine, especially when it's your stuff. So I'm not complaining about that. And this is not really even a complaint. It's about what I learned. So I went back to him and I said, basically, look, there was no pre-site inspection done on the product, and it's very hard for me to determine whether or not the equipment was damaged pre or post move. So you guys could understand where my position kind of is a rough spot where I'm at. So, as much as I want to be fair to the customer, I also have to be able to say, look, like, I'm not 100% sure if any of that stuff happened on our dime, on our clock. You know what I mean? Did the guys do it? I wasn't there. My guys did the job. So it's very hard for me to, basically say one way or another who's at fault, To be honest with you, this is not about calling out the customer or anything like that. I totally understand the customer's position, and I'm pretty sure they understand ours as well. It's more about like setting expectations and kind of like taking a learning lesson from this whole thing. Should I have done a pre-site inspection? Absolutely. This is something that I used to do years ago, and I've kind of gotten away from just because most people are just looking to save money. And if I'm visiting a location several times, the price just keeps going up every time I have to go there. Unfortunately, it's the way it works. Having actual documentation. So if you're a customer and you want to make sure that your equipment is pristine when it's moved, I would get some documentation, or I'll request a pre-site inspection, which is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you as a customer should say something like, hey, would you mind doing a pre-site inspection? Because I want to make sure my equipment is in the same condition that when you guys pick it up, or as close to that condition as to when we deliver it. And, honestly, I would have totally agreed to that. Just for protection for both sides, I would have, because then, my guys or myself could have gone in there and said, look, like this nick, this scratch wasn't us. Here, give me a signature, and just kind of go from there. So I picked up 3 lessons from this whole situation. One, a pre-move inspection, I think, is absolutely necessary when it comes down to moving other people's products from one location to another location. Some people are not going to mind if there's a couple of dents or scratches on their product when they move it. I think some people understand that when moving stuff, things like this happen. But for those customers who are very peculiar about their stuff, I think it's absolutely necessary. Another lesson that I learned is that without a pre-site inspection, it's very hard to prove what side was right or wrong, and I think that that's something that you never want, as a business owner, you never really want to get put into that situation where you really can't point the finger and you're kind of, leaving a sour taste in someone's mouth because they feel like they're being wronged, so that's a huge lesson that I learned from this, that without the absence of proof in the situation, it's very hard to take ownership and take liability and say, yeah, I did it and we should do this. I should have done a better job, and I should have made sure that the guys, when they showed up to the job, they did a full inspection on their product, hands down. So I still decided to help the customer out, and give them a discount on some product. It's the best I could probably do in a situation like this. They're gonna get to save some money. So it's like, money saved in their pockets is like money earned at the end of the day, because, they could be paying 30-40% more for the piece of equipment that I'm giving them. Basically that's the kind of discount they're gonna get, which is not bad, and the only reason I did that is just for the interest of fairness. Again, I can't prove one way or another, and I don't want to be unfair. At the end of the day, we like to maintain a good reputation, so that's the reason we're doing that for them. And I think that, I still haven't heard back from them, but I'm sure that with what I'm putting forward to them, I think it'll be sufficient. So, it's hopefully it works out. I don't know, but let's just say that I think it will work out. So now another problem that I had with the situation was that I underquoted the job. I underbid it. I should have asked more questions. And if I would have asked more questions, I would have probably charged more for the job, and I would have kind of gotten engaged to see what the customer was expecting. And with that lack of communication between me and the customer, the expectations weren't met. At the end of the day, that person felt like we didn't meet their expectations, even though the cost of the job probably superseded what we charged for it. To be honest, it was supposed to be a 3-4 hour day, like a 5-hour thing. It became a 2-day thing. So you could imagine the type of situation it put us in, as far as like when a customer comes to you and says, hey, I want a discount, or I want money back for this move. You're kind of in a situation like, hey man, that money's gone. Like, we spent way more than that money just to be able to do the job. So that's really my fault. And I just want to emphasize that regardless, we wanted to do the right thing, and that's the reason I even gave them a discount on the product, because I'm already out. We know CSM's already out. We're already out money on this whole situation. We're just trying to mitigate, the customer just being upset, and we do want to do the right thing. So I want to emphasize something. It's about doing the right thing, not taking sides. These are my employees. These are people that I work with every day that, you're attached to. When they tell you one thing and the customer's telling you another, it puts you in a very peculiar situation. And I think in this situation, for the interest of fairness, I'm doing what I can. We did take a hit on doing the job for me underquoting it, like I said before, but I still wanted to make sure I tried to do the right thing for the customer. So I think that if you can learn anything from this, is that, cover your ass. That should be number one. But at the end of the day, in the interest of the customer, you got to kind of try to do, as long as they're being reasonable, you got to try to do the right thing. And they are actually being reasonable. You can tell by the emails threads, as I'm reading back and forth, and they're being pretty reasonable. So I don't feel like I'm being heckled into a corner to do the right thing. So now, for you entrepreneurs and all you business owners out there, you'll eventually have to deal with this kind of stuff. Whether you own a gym, whether you do what I do and sell gym equipment, and you're out there, you're gonna end up dealing with situations like this. So make sure you're prepared. Learn from this, mistake of mine. Learn from the situation we created by not doing more follow through on our end. So that's what I would say there. Question for you: have you ever dealt with something like this before? Let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear, like, if you guys have any stories or anything of any of these situations that ever popped up in your business. I'd be interested to know. Here at CSM, we do offer a free gym assessment. If you would like for me to go through what your plans are, I would love to help. I think that being that it's free of charge, is a consultation. It takes about 30 minutes. And we could do a 3D rendering for you, which is absolutely free. And we could see if we can make your dreams come into reality. Until the next video we create, I'll catch you on that one, okay? Peace.